So over the past 5 years, I've had a hate-hate relationship with chipping. And it's for this reason that I want to make this video today, because over the past few months, and I've been sort of keeping this a secret, but over the past few months, I've actually, for the first time since I was a junior, gained some confidence around the greens chipping. And it's because I've been in such a bad place with my chipping where I couldn't find strike. When you start having no control of your low point and you start hitting fats and thins, and then you get in pressurized situations, and then the John McClanes start, let's just call it the John McClanes.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
I've been through that. And over the last couple months, the confidence in my technique, which I'm going to talk about today, has got to a place where those yippee-ki-yays have all but disappeared. And it is this one thing, and that's why I'm calling it the secret, because it's been my secret to short game success.
And there's another yip. Just make another birdie. That. So, yeah.
I mean, take it from me, right? I've tried everything. Using the bounce. I've tried moving into the left foot. I've tried stacking weight over here. I've tried everything over the last 3 years to try and get my short game in a good place where I could just slowly get rid of the yips and actually become a better golfer, because it's always been the thing that's let me down. But this one thing, and it's tested in a pressurized scenario, and that's why I've sort of held off over the last couple months. But this one thing has just put everything together, and I've now got control of the low point, and I'm now gaining confidence in my chipping. And what it is vertical swing plane and increasing the vertical swing plane, right? So this is something that Joe Mayo spoke about on a podcast that I listened to a few months ago. He said the best chippers in the world have a very high vertical swing plane. So imagine a line that goes straight up from the floor at a 90-degree angle. So the best chippers in the world, their club, the club head, as it moves from sort of like knee height to impact, right? So this sort of area here, they are very close, generally, to 90 degrees.
Tiger attempting to play a little low sucking spinner.
Yeah, awesome.
So the higher you can get that degreeage, the easier it is to find strike. And I'm going to explain why. So getting it closer to 90 degrees. We do that by getting the club working up, out, and in front. All right, so the opposite would be getting the club working around ourselves. Now, one of the keys to strike, to gaining control of the low point, basically the bottom of the arc, is getting your tilts straight, if not slightly tilted to the left. We don't want to get the tilts moving this way and get that club working from the inside. So when you take the club inside around yourself, your left shoulder works this way. It's just natural for your tilts to increase to the right, and that is not what you want when you're chipping, because it just gets very hard to then get your tilts back on top of the ball and to guarantee strike. If you do the opposite and you work that club up, out, in front, almost like left shoulder low, if anything, the more your left shoulder goes down and the more the club goes out, the more the tilts go this way. So that's one reason why I think this works. The more around ourselves this club's traveling, the harder it is to strike down on the golf ball. So if the clubs are working really around ourselves, the angle of attack is going to be fairly shallow. So like 3 to 5 degrees for a chip, right? As opposed to if the clubs are working up and down, it's going to get steeper. And this is something he talked about as well. The best chippers in the world are generally above 10 degrees angle of attack. Imagine club working in and around and trying to strike down on that golf ball, as opposed to the club just working up and down. It just makes it a lot easier, the steeper you are and the closer you are to 90 degrees with the vertical swing plane, to consistently find strike. And when I look back at when I struggled with chipping and I look at my technique, it's literally no wonder that I struggled. So ball position, address, never really the issue. Perhaps there was too much tilt to the right, which encourages getting a bit inside and your low point being a bit further back. But I used to get the club working in here, all right? So the club would work in here, and then I'd wonder why I could not get my low point at the golf ball or in front of the golf ball. So the club working in here means I increase my tilts, means I'm coming from the inside, it's very shallow, and it's very hard then to strike the golf ball properly. And I did that a few times in tournaments, and it only takes a pressurized situation and you doing that a couple times for you then to be like a bit edgy over it. And then before you know it, you're putting from 50 yards, and you've got the John McClanes.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
So amongst all the trials in trying to get the short game in the right place, this is the thing that's worked. If we can get that club working up and down the line, so it's going to feel like there's almost like a straight line between the golf ball and the target line. It feels like the club head works up and down that line. So from this angle, because the club's working up and down the line, if anything, there's a slight move to the left, and that further encourages the low point to be at the golf ball in front of the golf ball. And it is this that has completely transformed the way I chip. And finally, I've got a bit of confidence. So yeah, if you're struggling with chipping, you're always struggling with strike, fats and fins, getting your vertical swing plane towards 90 degrees encourages a steeper angle of attack and promotes bottoming out, getting that low point in the right place. Just give it a go. Let me know what you think.